Hey there tech fans, Rick here again with another review, and today I have the Zino Mini SE drone from our good friends at Hubsan. This is one of the very latest drones released by Hubsan, and it includes features that you normally only find in larger, much more expensive drones in a package that weighs less than 250 grams, which makes it the perfect drone to take on your next vacation. Now, before I get too deep into all the cool features that Hubsan's packed into this drone, I'd like to start with an unboxing just to show you everything that's included with the kit, and that way you'll understand exactly what you get if you buy the product. And then I'll dive into the features because Hubsan has packed a lot of technology into this tiny little airframe, and even though it's a small drone, it really flies like a bigger drone, and I'll explain all those features so you can compare this to others you may be considering. So let's get started with the unboxing. When you first pop open the box, you're going to find a lot of gear, but first you'll find a nice carrying case. And that carrying case is perfect for organizing all your materials and making sure you have everything with you need to fly for that afternoon. And everything I have in front of me fits in that case. There's pockets in there for the drone, the controller, the batteries. Everything's got a nice little spot where it can be well organized. In addition to that, you'll find the drone, you'll find a remote controller, you'll find 3 connection cables for your phone or your tablet to the remote controller, and they include a USB-C, which is an Android, micro USB, which is an Android, and an Apple connection. So no matter what phone you're using, you can connect it up to the controller and start flying. You'll also find a spare set of joysticks. It comes with a set of joysticks inside the controller, but there's a spare set of joysticks included as well, because I promise you, the joysticks are removable, and if you take them off to put the remote controller away in the case, you're gonna drop those joysticks in the grass, I guarantee it, and you're gonna spend hours trying to find them. So having a spare set of joysticks is a really nice thing. They include a QC charger, which is a charger that can actually change the voltage and current depending on how the batteries need to be charged, so it's an intelligent charger. You'll find 2 sets of spare propellers and a screwdriver you can use to change those propellers. Now, I promise you again, when you're flying this, if you're around trees or branches, you're probably going to nick a propeller, so it's really nice to have spare propellers that you can actually swap them out as you need and you can continue to fly. In my kit, there were 2 batteries included. Now, these batteries are intelligent batteries. They're talking to the drone the whole time it's flying. They know how much current is left in the battery. They're indicating any kind of error conditions. So they're smart batteries talking to a smart drone. Also in the kit is a charging hub. It's an intelligent charging hub. That hub will handle 4 batteries at the same time. Now, it won't charge all 4 simultaneously. What it does instead, though, is when you plug batteries into the hub and add power to it, the first thing it does is interrogate all the batteries that are plugged in. It'll find the battery that needs the least amount of charge. It'll fully charge that battery first. Then it'll move on to the next battery, finally through all the rest of them that were plugged into the hub. So it's smart. And it's going to, again, sequentially charge the batteries based on the amount of current that they need to fully charge them. And that's a smart thing to do because it gets you out the door quick. So if a battery needs a little bit of charge, it'll charge that fully, pop it in the drone, go out and start flying. When you're done with that battery, come back, the next one will probably be ready to go. There are 2 charging cables included, one that you can use that's a little longer between the hub and the charger. The other one is a short USB-A to micro USB, because this also has a second port on it. So you'll charge it through this micro USB, but this one you can use that second cable to charge the controller off the hub at the same time. So it's a really smart setup where you need one charger to charge the batteries and charge the hub at the same time. Finally, there's a full instruction manual included as well that gives you all the details you'll ever need to know about this drone, how to fly it, how to charge it, the rules of engagement when you're out there flying, everything that's really important about the application, the controller. So read through the manual because, as I recommend, I know it's a boring exercise, but take a few minutes, read through it, and that way you'll get the full value out of the product. All right, so some of the things you need to know about this drone. Anytime you're considering a drone, a lot of people want to start with how long does it fly? Well, it's a miracle, but this drone on a fully charged battery can fly up to 40 minutes. That's right, up to 40 minutes. Now, I know that sounds crazy because most drones that are small like this, 6 minutes, 10 minutes, maybe if you're lucky, 15 minutes. A 40-minute flight time is absolutely astounding, and that's because they've done a really good job in the engineering on being very frugal about how it pulls power out of the battery. And again, having an intelligent battery allows it to contour that current draw into the drone in a very safe way and a very efficient way. So up to 40 minutes. Now I say up to 40 minutes because in my testing, nobody's going to get 40 minutes. That's the perfect conditions in a laboratory. My testing has gotten it somewhere between 28 and 35 minutes, depending on how much wind there is out there and how aggressive I'm flying and all that. But still, 30 minutes of flight time is absolutely amazing because you're up there in the air. It gives you plenty of time to get out on top of a target, capture some amazing footage and get some great pictures, and have plenty of current to fly back. So over 40 minutes on the batteries. Another key difference between this and a lot of other drones is the distance you can fly the drone. A lot of smaller drones like this are limited by a Wi-Fi distance, which means you might get 1,000 feet, 2,000 feet out of them. You're going to lose signal at that point, and then who knows what's going to happen with the drone. With this one, the connection topology provides 9 kilometers of connection distance. Now think about that. 9 kilometers. You can't fly the drone that far, even though technically you could. Legally, you can't, because the FAA's got a regulation that says in the United States, you've got to keep the drone in visual line of sight. So for me, that's about 3,000 feet. But knowing I can fly at 9,000 feet means I've got a rock solid signal, even in close. If there's a lot of Wi-Fi interference, or if I'm flying around buildings or trees, I'm never going to have to worry about losing that connection, which means I've got a lot of safety built into the drone. And a lot of times people are flying a drone, they're thinking, my biggest fear is I put the drone up, I send it off a little far out there over the field, and all of a sudden I lose my connection, and the drone keeps flying over the horizon, and that's the last I've seen of the drone. No worries here. With 9 kilometers of connection distance, you're going to have a rock solid signal no matter where you're flying. All right, so the last thing I want to talk about from a drone perspective is the camera, because one of the reasons you're buying the drone is to have a lot of fun. You're going to put it up in the air, and you've essentially got a flying robot that you're in control of, swinging around the backyard, zipping in and out of the trees. But you want a good camera too, because the second reason you buy it is because you want a DSLR camera up in the sky. So this unit has a 1/2.6-inch sensor, and it can record 4K footage at 30 frames a second. That's astoundingly good video. It can record 48 megapixel pictures. So what you've got is a better than a cell phone camera up in the sky with a really broad field of view, which means you're going to capture a lot of footage. And it's the perfect camera for any kind of landscape photography, or up in the sky 200 feet, taking a shot of the field or that lake or that forest or your family out back waving. It's a beautiful drone for that. It's also an incredibly safe drone. That's one of the key features that Hubsan's built into this drone you may not find in other drones. And what I mean by safe features are things like battery levels. So the drone is smart enough to know how much current's left in the battery, or how much of a charge is left. And if you're not paying attention to the battery level and you try to fly this further, then the battery will provide energy to get back. The drone takes over, it'll turn around and come back and land where it took off. So it's watching you the whole time to make sure you're not doing something goofy and trying to fly it too long where you run out of battery and then it just drops from the sky. Another cool feature is it's got an automated return to home if there's any kind of error. So for example, if something wacky happens where the power goes out on the controller and it's no longer talking to the controller, or if you somehow lose that connection, the drone just doesn't go off on its own. It knows that it's no longer talking to the controller. It sees that as a critical situation. Again, what it'll do is spin around, fly back, and land right where it took off. So the safety features are really important. They're built in as well. Other cool features are sort of artificial intelligence features where you can train this drone to follow you around. So it'll look at you, it'll profile you, and then if you give it a command, it'll actually walk around with you, or I should say fly around with you as you walk around the backyard. So it's smart in that respect, where it can recognize somebody and keep you in the center of the frame while you're walking around to film you as you're moving. So incredibly good drone. The only thing it doesn't have, which its bigger brother, the Zino Mini Pro, has, is it doesn't have crash avoidance. It doesn't have that feature built in. But again, for a drone this small at this price, I don't think you really need it, because if you're a decent pilot, you're not going to fly near tree branches. You're going to be careful to not run into a wire or a building or something like that. So no crash avoidance, but again, to me, that's not that big a deal. Once you start flying for a little bit of time, you're going to get so comfortable up in the air that you're going to turn off crash avoidance anyway. So for me, I think it's a complete kit. They give you everything you need to fly this drone right out of the box. Charge up the batteries, charge up the controller. You don't even have to register because it's under 250 grams. Just go out there and have a whole lot of fun with it. It's a great drone for new flyers that haven't flown a drone before. It's incredibly easy to fly. It's got really good stability in the air. It's got GPS coordination, so it always knows where it is in 3D space. It can find its way back home. So no fears about losing the drone. And again, it's just incredibly easy to fly. So if you're looking for a drone to get involved in the hobby, this may be the perfect drone for you. It's actually a great drone too if you already own other drones, because you may be looking for something smaller, again, that you can pack away, throw in your suitcase, and almost forget you've got it along because it's so small. Just an incredibly sophisticated and convenient drone. So hopefully you found this review helpful. I've enjoyed talking about it. And until next time, as always, stay nerdy.